Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us from wherever you are in the world. We're gathering to honor and remember Janet Adler, who died 1 year ago today, and who left us with the extraordinary gift of a continuing and evolving practice of moving, witnessing, speaking, and listening. Her teaching, her writing, her love and way of being has touched so many of us. Even if you never met her in person, perhaps you are here because her offering to the world has met you in some way. As I remember Janet, I feel soft, tender, and very human. Before we continue, we need to tell you that sadly, filmmaker Jens Wazel will not be able to join us today, though he intended to. He sends his love. Many thanks to Jens for being part of the planning for this day. Bonnie and I would also like to thank Helena B. and Steph Turner for helping to make our gathering possible. And thank you, Nina Kungarova, for your support and commitment to the wider global community of authentic movement practitioners. Today, Nina has arranged for a translator so that our Russian-speaking friends and colleagues can participate. Thank you to our translator, Natasha Press. Welcome, everyone.
Thank you, Paula. Though we lost Janet 1 year ago today, her legacy lives on through her offerings, through her teachings, and through each of us who absorbed something of her remarkable presence. Each of us who longs to contribute in some way to witness consciousness in the world. Today, Paula and I will share 2 new video clips of Janet speaking from conversations we had with her 2 years ago, 1 year before she died. After that, we'll open up the space for you, for others to speak, for sharing from our collective body. And at the end of our time together, we'll share Jens Wazel's beautiful tribute film. Then we'll end in silence. If you have a candle available, we can lift our flames together in honor of Janet's life and legacy as we close.
So the first video that Bonnie and I would like to share is an excerpt from a conversation that I had with Janet on May 5th, 2022, a few months after the publication of Intimacy in Emptiness and Evolution of Embodied Consciousness. This is the book of Janet's collected writings that Bonnie and I co-edited in collaboration with Janet. My conversation with her that day focused on intuition. Helena, we're ready for the video.
At this time in my life, I can look back and actually honor with gratitude this quality of being that I guess is called intuition. Because as I think even as a child, I think I probably just arrived into this realm with a very strong intuitive sense about things, maybe more than, it's so Western to sort out intuition and mental and sensation and emotional. And we learn so much by sorting and separating out these aspects and looking at ourselves in relationship to them. So with that awareness, naming that awareness, I can see the value in tracing or tracking the strength of that aspect in my own being, just feeling that I was living strongly from that quality. And I grew up in a very patriarchal, intensely patriarchal culture. and family, culture, community, intensely so. And I think intuition was considered sort of kind of the feminine, and I do think it is a feminine aspect. Not that it's just women who know something about this, not at all, but just the aspect. Many men have a strong intuitive way of being as well. Maybe it's more familiar to more women, but I do, I like to understand my own pathway in relationship to the patriarchy, because it was not welcome. If I didn't have a reason for thinking something or behaving in a certain way, it wasn't highly regarded, it wasn't honored. There had to be a rational reason for everything. And thank goodness for my mother, who was always there reminding me that it was okay. So I wasn't alone in this kind of blind journey of how to learn that I could actually trust my intuition. So I think recently I was thinking about this. I think sometimes one way to describe the last 50 years of my study and practice and teaching of the discipline of authentic movement, this seems kind of hilarious to me, is that I spent my entire professional life proving to myself that I could actually trust my intuition. And I hope in that process that perhaps other people were learning what they needed to learn as a mover or as a witness. But remember how we spent so much time in the practice, we still do, asking this question: is my experience, am I judging myself or the other? Am I projecting? Am I interpreting? And so this insistence for me that for just myself, and then of course it's what I was offering my students, let's make sure that in this longing to see another clearly and to be seen clearly, that we bring consciousness to how we respond. And it's so automatic to judge. It's so automatic to project, to interpret. So that insistence makes me laugh because I think it worked. I think what happened is I did learn, and I'm speaking very personally. I'm so interested. Of course, it would be fabulous if we brought this question to our students and our colleagues who are studying and practicing the discipline. But it feels like staying so near this question of what is intuition. And by the way, it's an aspect that I never could find in my body. You know, when I talk about thinking, I point here, and when I talk about emotion, I point here, and sensation, I make a gesture like this. But with intuition, there's no place in my body where it dwells in that same archetypal way or human way.
Just taking in the words of Janet, seeing Janet. We invite you now to take a moment to be with your own experience. How is it in this moment as you receive what Janet is offering? Notice what's moving in within you. If something's arising for you that you wish to share later, you may want to write it down. Soon we will open the space for those who may feel moved to briefly speak or post an offering of words on chat. But first, we want to share another video of Janet speaking with Bonnie.
A couple of months later, Janet and I had a conversation on July 18th, 2022, almost a year to the day before she died. I wanted to speak with Janet about the way in which, within the discipline, embodied transformations of consciousness are sometimes experienced as encoding on a cellular level within the body. And I wanted to dialogue with her about how the cultivation of embodied consciousness in individuals might support the evolution of consciousness within groups, within our collective body, within humanity. Here's a video clip from that conversation. The work in the discipline, I saw this possibility
Mm.
of communion and still each individual light,
Mm.
alive and clear.
Both.
Yes, yes. And
I-
that just starts to vibrate, right? And it seems to me exponential what's possible.
Mhm. Mm.
Your prayer of may the consciousness, and I can't remember it exactly, but may it be enough.
Mhm.
All that's happening underground sometimes in our world, or all of the human beings who are working to cultivate, who have the privilege of working to cultivate consciousness in all the different ways that they are doing so, right? It's a lot of it is underground, it seems to me, and a lot of it is quieter than the noise we hear, right?
Mhm. Yeah, I like how you speak about that, because it also is invisible until it finds form. So it matches for me the way you speak about that, that which is invisible above ground. Somehow, what a lovely image to think of a meeting of those two invisible forces, one rising up and being welcomed by what's possible in the evolution of consciousness above ground. Some kind of, I love your word communion. It's one of those words like covenant. I love these words that they're very soft, aren't they? They're and they manifest in me a great warmth that has to do with some kind of meeting of two realms, two forces, two lights, two hues, yeah. And this takes me immediately to the phenomenon of separation and how essential it is for unitive experience. That in my own experience, there is no way to have a unitive experience, a direct experience of that which is invisible, or that kind of wholeness, without enduring the challenge and the blessing of separation, of separate, being a separate phenomena, a separate body, separate self. And I'm endlessly interested in separation, as you know. I think it has been my koan, my most consistent kind of riddle or task that life keeps bringing me back to, knowing what is true about the essential nature of separation, and how it is the source for not only unity of consciousness, but wholeness, but also this exquisite experience of aloneness, which is so different from loneliness, which is so much a part of the shadow of separateness, being separate, all that. So interesting. Yeah.
Watching these video clips of Janet speaking, I feel some nostalgia. Miss her. Hearing her speak of separation, I feel the absolute separation that death makes. At the same time, I do feel a clear communion of her energy with ours, communion. And I do experience the covenant of her teaching and her love still here with us. If she were right here with us now, I know that she would be happy, thrilled, really, to hear your voices, to hear each of your voices. Paula?
Yeah, I was just waiting for, all right, here.
We are.
So now as we open up our space, let's go into gallery view. So I think this is something that you'll each need to do yourselves. So we go into gallery view so we can have a moment of seeing and feeling ourselves together. Yes, yes, here we are, yes. So let's spread our arms wide. Some of us might know this as sprouting around the world to experience our circle, gathering here today, our global community, knowing there are others who couldn't make it at this time, but who are with us in spirit.
Here we are on this first anniversary of Janet's passing. Now let's offer as many folks as possible an opportunity to share briefly anything you wish to say, an insight in response to the video clips, a memory in honor of Janet, anything. We have a little less than 20 minutes for this part, and Helena will guide us in sharing our voices. Ready, Helena?
So we invite you right now to go ahead and raise your virtual hand or to chat me, or you're welcome to also share your memories in the chat to share with the group. And if you can keep it to around a minute and keep it concise, we invite you to do that right now. And I'll be calling on you to share.
I'm feeling so much love right now with this sprouting we just did. But before that, just seeing Janet. And to echo what you said, Bonnie, miss her.
Thank you, Fu. So nice to see you here. And I'm sorry if I'm saying your name wrong, like Shimi.
Wow, just to see all of your faces. I know several of you. I just wanted to share that I met Janet in 1979, my first semester at Hampshire College. And she showed her film Looking for Me. And I said, that's what I want to do and in my life. And that's what I've been doing for 44 years. Became a dance movement therapist, and she showed up in many significant moments in my life, and I just so appreciate her, but also all of you who I've studied with and moved with and witnessed. And it's it's quite a meeting. So thank you for making this happen.
Thank you so much for sharing. We'll call on Mary Claire.
Hi. I'm also deeply honored to be here in everyone's presence. And I've been exposed to authentic movement for about 8 years now. And 2 years ago, I had the opportunity to interview Janet as part of some graduate studies research I was doing. And I was just so moved by how warm and welcoming she was to me as a young graduate student, and just someone with deep curiosity for this practice. And she was so, like, I just felt so connected to her in just this 1 hour conversation that we had. And I guess it's just a testament to her presence that it was so palpable. And I only wish I could have known her longer or spent more time. Yeah, just profoundly grateful. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, Marie Claire. All right. I see you, Wendy and Pamela, but Daniel is first. So Daniel, just go ahead and unmute and please share.
This is Daniel. Can you hear me?
Oh, yes.
Oh, okay. This is actually Benna Kalinsky. Daniel's my husband, and his name is on our Zoom. But I'm sitting here feeling this vibratory energy just coming out of this screen into me, and from me into this screen, and in this world, the level of connection I feel with each one of you because of our practice is outstanding. And I just bless everyone. And Janet, I miss her so much, but right here in this moment, she's so alive. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing. Okay, Wendy.
Yeah, I guess I want to say something similar in different words. I'm so touched by the word communion and feeling it vibrating with me as I sit here with all of you. Some of you I know and worked with so intimately for a number of years, a large number of years. And so many of you I don't know at all. Some of your names I know. I have such a sense that we are community, communing as community, and that each of us, Janet speaks of separation, and I feel acutely each of you, each of us is a whole world, separate worlds. And those of you I know in some way, I know you bring whole other worlds to this work, and Janet's presence is informing all of us as our own potential is encouraged to blossom and unfold. I feel the tremendous potential in this community, and I really am grateful to you, Paula and Bonnie, for providing us a year later. Oh, Janet, she doesn't look as if she's going to die in a year in those videos. She's so alive and vibrant, and it's so good to see her hands moving in Janet ways. She's such a unique, fully realized, maybe none of us is fully realized, but it's just such a blessing to see her and to feel so strongly her presence. And each of us brings her presence. It's miraculous. So here I am in Israel, and I'm feeling all of you globally. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you so much, Wendy. I'm sure many of us feel that way here. Okay, we'll go to Pamela.
Hi, everybody. I also am so grateful that I got notice of this happening. I was very shocked. I didn't know that Janet had been ill, and when she died, it was a complete surprise and shock. I met her in 1987 in the Naropa Institute, and I studied with her for the summer. Some of you were in that program with me, and it's lovely to see people from that long ago. And then subsequently, every year found a way to connect with Janet in some retreat or something. But some of you may know that her son is a rabbi, and she happened to be visiting him at his synagogue, which was where my daughter was going to school. And I went there for the Jewish holiday of Yom Kippur, which is a day of fasting and prayer. And Janet was in services, which was a complete surprise and amazing because I was mourning my mother who had recently died. And I just had the privilege of Janet coming and sitting next to me and being Janet and us doing this prayer morning together and her witnessing me and me witnessing her. And I just love her with all my heart, but I will never, ever forget the compassion that was there that day. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Pamela. Okay, so next is Bathsheba.
It's for Janet and for us and for you. Thank you, Paula and Paula and Bonnie. I feel the connection, the sharing, and the continuation. I don't feel the separation and feel blessed for her presence and our connection. So thank you, and Shabbat Shalom from Israel.
Thank you so much for sharing. Okay. We have a couple of shares in the chat from Jeff and from Lisbeth. Okay. Ingrinda, Rita.
Hi. I just wanted to share that I had a privilege to meet Janet some years ago. And it was very, very mysterious that just a few minutes before the meeting, the light appeared, and I couldn't explain the source of it. I took some pictures, and I still have them, but it's still very miraculous and mysterious, and I somehow keep this with me as a gift I could witness in this world. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Would anyone else like to share a memory or appreciation? I see Joan. Did you have your hand up? Okay.
Yeah, I think an appreciation for me is just Janet's modeling of following her own inquiries. And that was such a modeling for me personally. So deep, amongst many things, but deep appreciation for that. And wonderful to see and feel this community. Thank you.
Thank you, Joan. And Julia.
I want to express my appreciation for the large community from all over the world. That fills me. And also to say, following Janet's intuition has been a model for me as well. I know that we'll bring this back. There's several of our fellow Authentic Movement movers here on the Zoom, and I think we'll bring this back to our group as well. So thank you, Bonnie and Paula. Much appreciation.
Thank you very much, Julia. And we have some really beautiful tributes in the chat coming up. Would anyone else like to share? I really appreciate it if you could do your virtual hand, as there's quite a number of participants and many screens to filter through. But I will do my best to look through. If you need to, just raise your real hand. Yes, Marcia.
Hello, everybody. Just an enormous heartfelt hello from where I am in Italy. I sat here and I honored silence because, as we know, silence speaks. And I said to speak to Janet and her legacy. It is also to open my own heart to all of you and to let you know how much I appreciate our world global community. I'm so much grateful to be a part of. Thanking Janet and Paula and Bonnie for making this possible. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So we have time for maybe one or two more shares. Don't be shy.
Can I start? I cannot put up the hand.
Oh, okay. We'll be right with you, Carolyn. Go ahead.
Before we started, I made a blind picture. I painted a blind picture, and I tried to show it. And for me, it is what she is like an opening to the sky and very much rooted. And the next word which came was joy, because the joy of to be human, and that she was so much encouraging inside myself and the 30 years now I know it, and I'm very, very deeply thankful to be now in this community, and also that you have shown this little 2 videos from short before she passes, because this is a gift for me too. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Okay, Caroline. Oh, just remember to unmute. Yeah.
Well, I just want to say thank you to Bonnie and thank you to Paula for gathering us all together like this. It's so healing. And I think I just want to name love and to thank Janet for her guiding, loving presence. And for me, and I'm guessing for everyone here today, her memory is a living blessing, a daily living blessing. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Caroline. All right, so we have time just for one quick one. Tara, go ahead and unmute.
Thank you. I'm also really grateful that for this presence this morning, and for seeing some people I know well, and seeing some people I haven't seen for a gazillion years, and I miss you. And I just wanted to say out loud that Janet and the work has been part of my life since 1971, and every time, and I'm still practicing it, it's incredibly special, and it has been the most enormous spiritual path gift that I walk and move on. So I'm very grateful for that. Thank you.
Thank you, Tara. So we're going to, I'm going to pass it back to Bonnie and Paula. Let's see.
Thank you. Thank you.
Beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you to each and every one of you for each and every word. And thank you to each one who sat in silence and listened, listening being an important part of the practice, of course. And so we'll end this part with Janet's words. And these are from the prayer that I was trying to remember in the earlier video clip. May the quality of consciousness that is emerging collectively within our world outweigh the quantity of unconsciousness that suffers on this planet.
May all suffering become compassion. May we be ready. May we be able. This prayer from Janet is at the end of her essay, Presence in Intimacy and Emptiness, an Evolution of Embodied Consciousness. If you don't have a copy of the book and you'd like one, you can find it on the book website, intimacyandemptiness.com, which Helena will put in the chat. Thank you so much, each and every one, as Bonnie says.
Also, a recording of this gathering will be placed on the book website as well. So if you want to share it with other people or go review the videos of Janet, you're welcome to do that. So now we have one more offering, but first we want to thank everyone for coming, for gathering, for sharing in this small ritual of remembrance. Thank you again to Jens Wazel, who can't be with us today. Thank you to Helena B. Thank you to Steph Turner. Thank you to Nina Kungarova and Natasha Press. And thank you so much to each and every one of you for coming, for participating. We really appreciate it.
I'm honored now to speak on behalf of Jens Wazel, who is a photographer and filmmaker based in Berlin. The whole story and timing of Jens' arrival at Janet's doorstep is quite wondrous. When it was clear he would not be able to join us here today, he sent the following words. I came to Galliano 3 years ago to make a film about a woman I had heard about as part of my project to document the history of conscious dance, but a woman who I had never met before and knew little about. Over the next 2 years, through my time with Janet on the island, email exchanges and Zoom calls, and then in the making of the film, I found a teacher, a collaborator, and a dear friend. I am still honored and deeply moved by having had a chance for that. All I did was truly an offering from the heart. What you will see now is an excerpt from Jens' longer film, Light, 5 Days with Janet Adler. Jens created this excerpt as an offering very soon after Janet's death last year. Helena is going to post a link to the website where you can find both the films and a photo book.
After the film, let's all remain in silence. And we invite you to hold up your candle if you have one. At that time, let's again feel into our circle, our collective body, our global community here. Let's really honor this. And then each one of us can leave as we are ready. And the Zoom link will close on the half hour. So now let's turn again to this transmission, this gift of words and visuals from our dear teacher, Janet.
I see so much light everywhere out, here in the cove, beyond the cove. The candle, each of us, this light. For me, more and more, it's about light. The light in each one of us, one by one, that light. The same as all of this light around us. I'm learning so much about being turned into this next chapter of my life, probably my last chapter, very likely. I'm so grateful for these old trees reminding me, I feel awe in their presence, in the presence of this much change, that these trees, they must have lived so long. I don't know if trees resist their growth or surrender or feel awe. And everything living is somewhere on that spectrum, right? Somewhere beginning, flourishing, being turned into the light. What I discovered and what really became my inner work for the entire arc of my life is the phenomenon of separation. What a better practice in terms of my final release into the light than to have had this entire lifetime trying to learn how to separate when it's time, and therefore love more, not less, not be removed from, but closer to an authentic source of loving. A wondrous time, a wondrous way to enter life more fully at the exact same moment that I'm feeling released toward my death.